So what we have in here, it's pretty simple. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible because Azure itself has so many options. I want to focus on the options of Azure and show you as much information as possible. Oh, by the way, let me give you a quick note. Again, for everyone watching this, because if this is the first time you are following these sessions are made to show you the broad line of technologies that come from the session itself, like Azure here. However, with the team from Think Tank, ready to provide professional and dedicated training for you and your team and your company at any time, whether online or on site. I'm confident that Think Tank, followed by the team, can actually give you the custom training and the needed resources of training you need to actually get whatever you see in the session implemented as your company. If you need it to host on a cloud, if you needed to learn more about Azure, we are very pleased and very motivated to actually assist you. Just get in touch with the team of Think Tank, and they will be glad to help you to reach your to pursue your own goals. So I just wanted to say this because this session is not a training session. This is like a demonstration session for certain technology. However, if you need to go deeper, if you need to go more professional, if you need to actually have an implementation plan for your company, this can be done. And we are very pleased and very motivated to actually help you. So back to the topic. So right now I'm gonna have like a firewall here on the cloud, and I'm gonna use FortiGate. As you can see, FortiGate alone is like a very quite of investment. If you're gonna actually have it in your own company, you have to buy the device, you have to buy the license, already thousands of dollars in just one section here that you're gonna need. And the funny thing is, and the really cool thing is, right now I'm gonna have one FortiGate fully licensed and ready to operate in a single click. And at this moment, I'm not saying all the time, at this moment, I will not pay anything, not a single dollar. You're gonna say, okay, gonna have really small servers here. They're not actually servers, they're just stations, but simulating servers. So one of these, I'm gonna make it a web server, which any company needs. And the other one, let's make it like file share. A simple file share. However, this file share will be available online, will be available globally over the internet, and it will be secured and accessed by the staff from anywhere, from their machine. They can map to their own folder, so they can actually access any files they need. So this is really a simple implementation. However, as you can see right now, I need a firewall, I need two machines, and I need the stuff to quickly place it on it. Connectivity need to be done, and we will be seeing this a lot of stuff. So let's start by showing you the interface of Azure and creating the two new virtual machine and show you some options quickly about how to implement the virtual machine. And then we're gonna go into the only advanced section in the session of how we can actually connect and have an actual connectivity between these servers and the firewall correctly, and how to provide secure access to everything I need, to everything to actually provide me access to these servers and actually to provide the service online. So in my example here, to provide the services online and actually in a good presentation way, I'm gonna use one of my test domains, and my test domain, let me see, this one here for the web server, I'm gonna call it web server.arcomsoft.com. This is my test domain. It's an actual domain. I use it for testing and presentation. So let's call this one server. I like shorter names. How about this? Web? Yeah. Come on. White speaking. Yeah. web.arcomsoft.com, and here the file share, I'm gonna call it share. So my implementation focus on from anywhere over the internet, anyone open a browser and connect to web.arcomsoft, he open up the website hosted at my cloud, and anyone try to access a shared folder, he goes to my domain, he goes to the server, provide access credentials, and go into the file share. And the connectivity between those servers is protected by a firewall, because I cannot place the servers directly to the internet on the cloud. Someone can actually hack into these servers, or someone can try to breach into my servers. Azure already provide firewall services, but they are plain services. If you're gonna go for services like firewalls, next generation stuff, they come at an extra cost. However, in my design here, I'm actually using virtual machines. There are other options called, for example, service-oriented application. But in this lab or this presentation, I'm gonna actually use server machine. So let me show you the interface and how we are gonna implement this section. Let's see how we are gonna move forward. So let me see. So this is a portal of Microsoft Azure, and there are a lot of stuff to actually go through here. It's impossible for me or anyone to actually describe and give information about everything. So we will just describe and become informative as we go. That's the best way to actually go from here. So the first section we need to go to is virtual machines. This is where you create your own virtual servers here. And for just an understand, all of these are, whatever you create here is actually a virtual machine. However, if you need to host a physical server, yes, there is an option to host a virtual server on cloud, on Azure, and Azure provide VMware here is available as a way to host VMware physical servers. However, this is not our implementation for today. This is for like larger implementations. Usually when you go for VMware, you are given an option to take at least 3 physical servers, physical real servers, and Azure handle everything related to VMware. VMware is like for big implementation, big large company implementation. However, in our today example, we're just gonna use very simple implementation. So I have already took the time and didn't really take you through the steps. I have already created my FortiGate firewall, and this is my firewall here running on the cloud right now. It's an operated firewall, and it's a virtual machine of FortiGate. If you need to go and create your own, it's very simple. You go to the search bar and search for FortiGate like this in the market of here, and you will be provided with FortiGate next generation virtual machine, and you can actually select it here and see how to create your own virtual machine of FortiGate. This is already a FortiGate provided from Azure. You don't need to do any installations or any implementations. It's really one-click operation. And when you create it, you are giving the option here of the plans or the prices. Of course, this one here is provided with pay as you go, so you pay by the hour. And here is just a quick understanding and presentation of the price if you really need to take note. So if you selected the virtual machine with only one virtual CPU, you will be paying this amount per hour, like 36 per 100 per hour. So expected cost per month is around this figure, like $262 per month. It may sound a bit, but keep in mind, this is a fully operational and licensed FortiGate. If you're gonna buy the FortiGate yourself, you're gonna pay thousands of dollars. That's the problem. The device itself, the hardware device, if you wanna place it in your company, or if you're gonna buy it on your own server, either way, you're gonna buy it for the hardware, and you're gonna need a license. FortiGate as a firewall require a license, so you're gonna need a license for it. Probably, I think for a starter, you're gonna need the 2 CPU, and this is probably gonna be your running cost per month. So you're gonna be paying around $640 per month. It's a quite cost. And if I make a quick comparison, you're gonna be paying, let's say, how much you're gonna pay here for a year, for 1 year. So you're gonna be paying around $7,000 per year to get the FortiGate from Azure. And keep in mind that this cost is for running cost. If you turn off the virtual machine, you don't pay. You only pay when the virtual machine is running. However, you do pay some minor stuff like storage and stuff like this. So it's quite, as I mentioned, running cost is high. You can go for one CPU at the beginning and then scale to 2 CPU. As I said, scaling is very easy. So if you are starting right away and you need 1 unit for FortiGate, you will be paying this amount of money per month. Per year, it's around 3,500. And this is just for the FortiGate. If you need to buy a FortiGate, how much it will cost you for a real FortiGate? Well, a device will need, I don't know, depending on the model you're gonna need. So a standard model compared to one vCPU, maybe the 100 series. So you're gonna buy the 100 series model, and you're gonna need a license. So it's quite some cost. We are talking about, I'm not sure, I'm just giving figure here. Maybe you're gonna need to like $6,000, I think. So if you buy the device, whether physically, I think physically and license, you're gonna need to pay $600, but you own it for life. That's depending on the license period. Usually the license is like 3 years, so you're gonna own the device with 3 license for $6,000. If you go for rented, you start right away from per month for this cost. So keep an eye on the cost, and we're gonna discuss it in just a moment. So when you create your own, also by the way, this cost includes support, so you get support from the Fortinet team. It's included, so no need for separate support license. This includes the support you need in your own implementation. So from here, you can actually create and start your own. That's exactly what I did. I selected the lowest one, which is one vCPU. This is one I created. And here is my virtual machine, which is FortiGate 1. You can see here it is running on a 1 vCPU, and it already has a public IP given, so I can access it on the here. And as you can see from the network perspective of this unit, we're gonna go some details on the Azure, don't worry. It has 2 physical, not really physical, but 2 virtual network ports. One of the port is having the public IP and a local IP, and the other port only having local IP. This one here simulates the LAN side of the FortiGate, because the FortiGate is having one port facing the internet from Azure, so I can remotely access the FortiGate. As you can see, I can access the FortiGate from here by logging in to the given IP. So this IP, okay, I need to turn it on first. So let's start it. Starting the machine, it was not turned on, so I need to turn on the machine and wait for a few minutes until the virtual machine starts. And then I can log into the FortiGate. As you can see, I'm running on one vCPU, running the instant virtual machine type, the DS1 version 2, which has one vCPU and comes with 3.5 gigabytes of RAM. This is very enough for starters. This is the lowest possible and really enough for starting your FortiGate. And as I mentioned, at any time, you can actually scale. You can upgrade your virtual machine if you needed more power. So this is number 1, and here successfully started my virtual machine. So let's wait until it doesn't take much until it becomes available, and wait so we can log into my FortiGate. Of course, it comes with local certificates. So if you need to use your own new certificate and your domain name, you have to do this stuff. And here is my FortiGate. And as you can see, it's ready operational, licensed, serial placed, license ready, everything is licensed, and everything should be good to go. That's how beauty it is. When you receive it here, it's already from the model. As you can see, I didn't buy anything. At this moment, I didn't pay anything. It will start charging me right now per hour for the license and the VM. And we'll be talking about cost in a minute. So this is my virtual machine. And right now it is ready for operation. It comes, as I mentioned, when you click on the interfaces, you have two ports. One of the ports is connected to the internet, as we mentioned, the one we log into the internet, and one is giving to you so you can place all servers behind. And you can actually add other ports virtually if there is a need. However, I don't think I'm going to need it in my session today, but I can show you how to add additional ports. So right now, my FortiGate is ready. It has its own IP ready, and it's ready for operation. So this is for my virtual machine. So let's start by creating one new machine, which will be acting as a web server. I'm just going to show you the options here. I'm going to create virtual machine here and click OK. You choose your subscription and you choose your resource group. I'm gonna choose one of my resource groups. So a resource group is just a folder where you can hold your own resources. And I'm gonna call this one, for example, web server. Now the region here, you need to select it. The region is really an important factor in selection because if this server is gonna provide services, it is better to place it at a location close to whatever service you provide. This is very here. I'm gonna put it in Europe. This is close to me, so I'm gonna put it in Europe South. These are all the data center available to me. Okay, I'm gonna put it in Europe South. And this is close to me for latency and stuff. It's better. So if I'm providing this web server for other region, I could choose from here. So availability option. So availability option have here, you have like availability zone and availability set. So physically separate your resources within the Azure region. This means that this virtual machine will be replicated to another virtual machine, but in the same zone, which is UK South, this one. This gives you protection for data loss. If the virtual machine become corrupted, if the data loss happen. However, this does not give you a protection against regional issues. For example, if the entire UK South become not available, you will lose access to the virtual machine. This never happened, but this what means availability zone here of how this one is selected. However, there is an option, another option to replicate into another location, but it's not option here. In my opinion here, I'm using no infrastructure redundancy required. I'm doing this to show you that you can actually not use the option of replication and save money. Because unfortunately, if you're gonna replicate even in the same zone, you will actually pay for it. It's not really high, it's quite cheap. But if you want to save on replication cost, you would. However, in this case, this VM is not protected. This is another consideration. If you are gonna go for serious operation, you have to handle this selection. Security type, standard. So the standard here, the trusted here will actually put you the virtual machine behind one of the Azure virtual protection units. It's not a discussion in this session, but here I'm just using standard. Now he's telling you what image do you want to use. These are pre-made images that are ready. I'm gonna choose Windows 10. I'm not even gonna go for server. I'm gonna go for just Windows Pro. This like this. The architecture and everything is okay. So run with Azure spot discount. This is very important actually, and this is why I'm creating this. The spot is meaning that Azure is giving you the option to give you the VM running at lower cost than supposed to. However, in trade for, if Azure become busy and on high demand, he will take the virtual machine from you to preserve resources. So this is like a trade. This is like a trade for you, meaning that the virtual machine will actually run at a lower cost. And as you can see here, for example, I'm gonna choose what cost I am running to. Let's first create the virtual machine. I'm actually gonna go for a cheap one. So 16 gigs, 80. Let's select. So let's search, for example, something with 8 gigabytes. So this one here seems good. 8 gigabyte of RAM, 2 vCPU, and you get an idea about its cost per hour, as you can see. You can change it to months, but this one gives you very cheap running per hour. And this one, which is 2.8, it can connect up to 4 separate disks. It comes with very small space, and it comes with a temporary disk with 16 gigabytes. We will connect the drive in a moment, but this one really good. 2 vCPUs, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it has a very low running cost. It depends on your selection. So I'm gonna select this one. So 8. I'm gonna show you the spot also. So he's asking me here when he should not allow the VM to continue if the cost increases. He's telling me the minimum is this number. So I'm gonna tell him that to stop it if it reach this amount per hour. So this is just an example, by the way. So right now, this one, which is 2.4, I'm just gonna repeat this one because I need you to understand it, has this cost per hour on average 90%. So if I go back here, this is, I'm telling it should not exceed this number. If the cost of this VM exceeds this number, he is allowed to stop it. Not delete it, but to stop it. This makes it a bit cheaper for me to run this one. Now we're gonna use username and password. So let's go for let's make one for what? I don't wanna. Okay, wait, admin. That's fine. Let's use one of my own passwords. And that's it. And this here allows the remote port, so you can remote your own VM. That's the way you can connect to the easiest way to connect to the VM. And now the license for Windows. As long as you are running any operating systems that require licenses, you have to confirm that you have the license for it. Because if you don't confirm that you have the license for it, either that you need to use an online license from Azure if it provides, or you will have to pay. So here you confirm that you are having a license for this operating system. So Azure is like legally okay that you are running Windows with this. So make a check on it already when you run on any new Windows operating system. You're probably giving like 90 days until you can apply for the license. So it's a good time until you can prepare the license ready for you. So I have prepared my virtual machine. Let's take a disk. So here he's telling me the image, the previous one I selected, the lowest one is 128 gigabytes. It's quite low. Let's take the 256, just an example. So the main disk of this operating system will be 256. And here the OS type is premium SSD. So he automatically selecting the highest possible performance drive. However, it is better for you to go down into standard HDD. And I didn't select the replication, so I'm only using this local. So go to standard HDD. This is a slow, low-cost hard drive. I am trying to save cost as much as possible, showing you how to lower the cost. If I would select the premium SSD, not even the standard, this is like 4 times more expensive than this one per hour. And there is no easy documentation for it. You will have to go to the more detailed documentation of cost to understand the difference between the standard and SSD. And also it is not that clear. So be safe and choose standard HDD if you are starting over. If, however, you truly need to provide an operation speed sensitive and something that, and you are really gonna go the mile here and you need to provide services with premium performance and stuff like this, yes, at this moment you're gonna need an SSD, you're gonna need to expand your memory, you're gonna need to run other stuff. In this session here, I'm showing you how to start over from scratch and showing you how to start as small as economical as possible and how to handle your VM correctly. So it's up to you, but I'm showing you these options. So standard here, and this option is delete with VM. When you delete the virtual machine, it will delete the disk to save your cost. Key management for encryption, everything is encrypted here, so keep this on default platform, not in our section today. And here data disk for web server, these are additional disks. This is the OS disk, and these are additional. If you want to connect multiple, yeah, for example, you can add another drive here. You can add whatever drives you need to select. Networking. Now he's loading my network, and I am planning to place the server behind the FortiGate. So I need to place the virtual network, which is the virtual port of this VM on the same virtual network behind the FortiGate. So to make sure my selection is correct, let me make sure. I'm gonna go here for virtual machine, FortiGate. I need to make sure which one. So my FortiGate, this is the internet WAN port connected on the data store. The local port is data store VNet 760 LAN, this one. So this is the LAN side of this one, the LAN side. This is the WAN side outside. So let me check. So this is the WAN side. So I need to place the web server here, so I'm gonna place it on the LAN side, which is data store here, and the subnet is 1000. This is like the subnet, same subnet need to be placed. So data store here, I need to change this to the LAN because this server behind it. And okay, I tell you what, I'm gonna change a little bit. I'm gonna make a separate port for it. It would be actually good. So let's keep this one separate on default for now, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because simply once I create this, there is no way to contact the server directly because FortiGate is not ready yet. We didn't implement the policy, so I'm just gonna make it right now connected directly over the internet until I finish my connectivity and replace. I'm gonna show you this. So this is like a direct port for now. Web server default, network security. Basic. This is a local firewall that's gonna run on this port, allowing specific ports only. And the only port allowed right now will be the remote desktop, which is this port. And he's telling you that this virtual machine will be available on the internet using this port and the IP that will be given. Delete public IP and network virtual network card when the VM is deleted. Yes, so you don't forget them. Enable accelerated networking. This is like placing this VM behind the fastest possible connectivity, which charges more. That's the problem. So I'm gonna remove it and put it behind the standard connectivity. The difference in is speeds and bandwidth. These like a really, really fast kind of connections. You don't need them unless you are gonna provide extremely heavy network connectivity requirement. So I don't really need it. Saving cost. Load balance. There is an already load balancing already in Azure, so I'm not gonna need it. Load balance is good if you are like clustering servers on Azure, so you can use the already built-in load balance from Azure. I'm not using it here, so it's not. And then management, some option for the management. I'm not gonna discuss it. Leave everything. Nothing, I'm not gonna enable anything, and I'm not gonna discuss these options. Enable OS gas diagnostics. While the VM boots and shutdowns, it will save some copy of the logs. So I probably not gonna need anything from this section and review. Of course, it's impossible for me to describe and explain everything, so I'm just letting you know. So now he's reminding you that this will cost this amount per hour, so you can actually understand what you are preparing. Because once I click create, I'm gonna be start charged for this. Each hour, I'm gonna pay this amount for this virtual machine. So create. And the creation process has started. Okay, quickly now, without more details, let's create the other virtual machine quickly. Same, everything I'm gonna keep the same. Same virtual machine to 8. Same username, or let's say share admin. That's one. Allow confirm desks. Get a bigger one. Standard, cheaper. Yes, delete. Same, this one will be placed. Okay, keeping this one on separate. And basic firewall. Allows a remote, delete, accelerated no, and no load balancing. Managing everything on default. As you can see, how fast I'm creating these VMs and how fast I'm creating these servers. Very, very fast, as you can see. And create the VM. Now the creation process on go. Now, if I go back to my virtual machines, you'll see the web server here is now being created. It will take maybe 5-10 minutes to create the virtual machine, place it, and be ready for remote. So I'm waiting for the other virtual machine to appear in here in this list. It's being created as we speak. And as you can see, I have the FortiGate, I have the web server, and the incoming share server coming in. My web server already received a public IP from Azure. Every virtual machine receives one by default. waiting for the other machine. Here is the share. So the share here is now available, and they are still in the created process, and he's telling me that the creation is complete. In a few moments, they will both be running. Yeah, this one changed to running. Actually, you can even, let's see if I can connect to it right away. Connection is pretty simple. You use only remote desktop. And these IPs are actually, as you can see, I'm presented with the login page. And this one is the web, I think. The web server, yes. So it was with app web admin. And saving my login. And I'm logging in. That's nice. My Windows 10 here. I didn't make a Windows server because this is just a documentary presentation. I'm not actually gonna run any actual thing. So I'm just using easy implementation. And of course, for serious operation, you're gonna have other serious VM and operating system. But I'm just wanna show you how it is done. So this is like the first boot. It's gonna take some time until Windows starts and so on. Just showing you everything is now working. So moving on. So you're gonna move on to the next section. And the next section, after the virtual machines appear, the next section is quite a bit advanced, requires some understanding of how network works on the cloud and how network works in general. This really needs to be clear. So, however, don't worry, I'm gonna do it. What we need to do is that we need to connect these two virtual machines behind the firewall, make the connection ready, and make sure that everything is working properly, as we really want to handle these servers. And after this, after the connectivity between the servers and the FortiGate is complete, now we need to make an entry point, how internet users, staff will be able to access the web server, how users will be able to access the share folder. So this will be our next video. I hope this easy presentation has made it quite good some time. However, things will be more clear. I'm sure about it. So let's move on to the next section.